So our child is 7, like Neil said. He's never traveled internationally before. So this is his first international trip. So we were trying to think of something that would be a good, I want to say starter trip, like comfortable. That would be an easier, to get around and navigate. What do you say?
Food, and we want our son to be experienced and needs all those experiences because we kind of feel like going overseas is really going to open your eyes to a lot of things. And so having him do it at 7 years old and go to like 2 or 3 countries already, it's just like it's mind boggling.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Rhythm and Rome with your hosts, myself, Benef. We have Paul, we have Trecia, and we are delighted to be here today with another interesting episode where we discuss our travel adventures and explore cultural differences, similarities, misconceptions, and all the craziness in between. So get ready for a passport knuckle ride. And of course, if you enjoy our show, please like and subscribe and share with your friends and family. We really appreciate your support. All right, today we are talking about traveling with kids and all the things that brings. Because it's not just babies or toddlers or middle schoolers. We're also talking about all ages of children. So it could be high school, adult children. The experiences of, I don't know.
Well, I guess
it's crazy.
If I can just throw out there, I think this will probably negate me from talking much because I intend to talk a lot. So because I don't have any kids of my own, but I do have experiences
that you know of,
that I know of, and then traveling with family member, my nieces and nephews, which I do have a story that we can get to sometime.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen kids.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm sure you have questions.
Or those parents struggling with a toddler that doesn't want to sit.
What I want to do is I want to just sit back and just have some popcorn and enjoy the ride of you guys telling us your stories as moms traveling with your kids. And what are some, I guess, do we say what are some of the do's and don'ts or be aware of or stuff like this from your travels?
I mean,
I don't know if there's any do's or don'ts.
Yeah, I know. Because I really think maybe if we progress through the ages, because traveling with an infant is very, very different than toddler, elementary. I mean, an infant, it's like they can be really easy. I mean, if they sleep the whole way. But there's so much crap you got to bring. And clearly an infant isn't carrying it. So it's just like trying to get through security, especially if you're, alone with the infant and you've got 75 different things that are just for that child and you're trying to carry it all. And it's and then
car seat,
all goes onto the conveyor belt. And then now you're just stuck with a kid, but I'm trying to unstrap everything. And I don't have another hand to hold the child. I think I looked at the TSA lady and she was like, I can't hold your child. And I'm like,
can I just be controversial then? Can I just be controversial and say, why do it?
Why travel?
No, why travel with a kid at a certain, why shouldn't we travel? Because it's a pain. It's not like the kid is going to remember that you went to Jamaica. Or you went to the Bahamas
no, you're right. But that means I'm changing my entire lifestyle because of this child instead of incorporating the child into my lifestyle. And I mean, obviously I'm not going to continue partying, going out clubs late at night and bring the kid. But if I want to still enjoy travel, does that mean I don't travel until what age?
No, it means that you leave the kids with the grandparents and you can travel until the kid gets to about 5 years old, where it does
assuming you have grandparents that are able and willing to do
or
this.
family members.
Exactly. I was just going to say that, or family members that would be willing and able to do that as well.
It's not like a dog.
It's not that easy.
Leave the dog and just be like, or a cat, come over and watch.
I did put a disclaimer that I was going to be controversial. So I'm just saying.
Yeah,
it's not like they're gonna remember.
It doesn't work that way.
But I get it.
But it's a lot of work.
Not to mention, you may not necessarily want to leave your child with family member or a grandparent.
What if you can't trust them? Not everyone has amazing, parents.
Yeah.
So
then don't travel.
but don't. That's You did not just say that. Like, you're like, I mean, never travel for the next 18 years.
No, right. I didn't say that. I said until the next 4 years.
But does that make it easier traveling with a 4-year-old that now could,
like, of course, because he can walk, he or she can walk on her, next to you instead of a, stroller.
But how far can a 4-year-old actually walk before they get tired?
When I see them in the airport, I just avoid them. Because I'm just like,
you're going to be really liked this episode. Wow. Well, they may not be traveling out of necessity.
Yeah,
as well.
Exactly. Yeah, it may not just be for leisure. They may actually have to be getting somewhere from one point to another. Perhaps
they could be moving as a family,
deploying, and their husband's already gone, and they got a PCS somewhere by themselves. You know that happens.
Well, no, that's true.
Wow. My experience, I actually did not travel with young children. Part of it was I was nervous about doing that and trying to make that happen for myself. And part of it was financially as well, because by the time I think before, because I had an older child and then I had my 2 younger ones, because my oldest and my middle and youngest are, the differences in ages are vast. So although I had an older child, financially it was just a plane ticket for 3 kids myself, my husband. Right. It was just a lot. So I actually didn't start traveling with my children until I guess they were about I want to say my youngest was probably about 8. I didn't travel internationally. We traveled within the United States in a car. So if we were to talk about those stories,
well, that's any of those. I mean, but the car travel is also can be very challenging. Oh my god!
Yes, 1 year, but I did 2 weeks on the road. So with
but I think the
16-year-old, 16-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1.5-year-old.
But the difference is the pain is only you guys. The pain is not affecting the community or the people.
Well, and so let's talk about that. Yeah, like how you said the pain is affecting the other people, and should I care about that as a parent? Like,
yes, you should, because it shows manners.
Well, yes, it shows manners that I care. But if I cannot stop my child from crying, is that now my fault?
Excuse you?
And do I have to excuse you, Paul?
What do you mean? Stop your child from crying?
Well, do you think I can control? No. Do you think I can control a 2 or 3-year-old?
Sometimes babies.
All I know is when my mom
unpredictable.
I'm not going to beat the child in public or ever. So stop it with that right there. That you're not killing me.
Oh.
I did not say to beat your child. I'm just telling you what happened.
You were like, well, my mother.
No. First of all, my mom didn't just up and beat us. What I'm saying is, first, they gave, I don't know, maybe it could be difference in culture, but my mom gave me the side eye. And you used to get that talk in the car. Don't ask for nothing. Don't say nothing. I don't want you to be requesting anything when we get into this store. And you know what I did? I didn't do none of that shit.
Well, that's because you understood the words. But if you're dealing with like a 2-year-old that doesn't understand why they are trapped in this metal thing,
Benef, I was a baby. I was like a toddler when like I would say 5 years old. Or 4.
You remember?
Of course
5
I
years
do.
old is not toddler. 5 years old is
4 years old, 5 years old. I'm talking about when I was young, where I was walking around and I did my first temper tantrum in Toys R Us.
But you remember, I'm talking about being 2. They don't have the cognitive ability to understand what is happening.
No,
it's
but
very
you're
hard.
Training them to say no, bad, stop.
There's certain there's certain things. Well, there's certain things that as parents that we do, right? We know the mannerisms of our children, and I'm sure many parents try to make sure that they don't want to go through that experience and the looks and the stares because they're child. So they try to do things to coddle their children, make sure you feed them so they'll sleep through the flight, or, make sure you have snacks, make sure you have, things that will keep them busy.
So Benef,
they can't run up and down the aisle.
Then it goes to exactly the point that I made earlier that you just told me not to whole.
You're saying
put your
don't travel.
Yes, you just said exactly what I was just saying. Wait until they can understand, and then you do the travel. Maybe you do
Yes, but
community type of travel,
that's
like
not always
smaller travel.
necessary.
It's
That's
not
not
always
necessary.
feasible. Yeah,
No,
it's
no,
not
but
always
what I'm
Exactly.
saying
feasible
is maybe
either.
you do smaller trips where it's only 2 hours down the road versus
Agree.
6 hours plane or train ride, because like you said, a child is still developing, and
Hmm.
if you don't want to get embarrassed in public, and
But I guess
I
it's
was
like, should
joking
I
on the
be
beaten part,
embarrassed?
but
Yeah, I don't know if I should be
Yeah.
embarrassed.
but I do have experience seeing people, and I feel bad for them. And I don't
Sure.
want to be, I'm not trying to be controversial, but I am trying to be controversial because it's embarrassing that, when you have those toddlers, like I see them rolling around in on the dirty ground, or they're doing the most Bart Simpson shit. And I'm just like, lady, your kid is about to get electrocuted. Like, what are you doing? Or your kid is sticking his hand somewhere and then, like, so all I'm
Well,
saying is,
part of that, I will admit, part of that has to do with training, right? That's part of that does have to do
what I
with,
said earlier.
but again, children will try things. They will try things. Especially if they will continue to test you. It
Right.
just happens, right?
But
Benef, I mean, you'd have to agree.
Yeah.
most of the time, I don't see
They,
the kid doing any the parents doing any correction action at the
well,
time of the
and
situation.
that could be their parenting skills, that are coming into play in that situation.
Whole story.
I
That's
totally get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get it. And like I said, I will help out if I, for example, if there was a kid, because I've been on planes where the kid is just crying the whole flight, and I feel bad for the mother because I could see the
Been on
stress on her
that.
face. And if
Mhm.
obviously if the kid was next to me, I would try to help the parent out as much as I can. I actually did help a mom out with her little goober who wasn't crying, but she was literally clearly trying to put her shit up and stuff like this and
yeah.
whatever. And she had to go use the bathroom, like, because she can't just
Yeah.
take the goober in the.
Well, you
And
can, but it is extremely difficult to
It's
feed
very
right,
hard.
while
Yeah.
holding a baby.
exactly.
Yes.
But
Yes.
we were
Yes.
talking
Even
and
at home.
we got the talking and stuff like that. And then I guess she felt comfortable enough. And she's like, I was like, look, if you need to go use the bathroom, I have 15 nieces and nephews. I'm happy to hold your kid while you go use the bathroom. Ain't like I'm
Yeah.
going to be running off the damn plane to kidnap your
No.
kid. So,
No.
I get it.
Very
And
nice of you, Paul.
I
Well,
try
that's
to be.
it's compassion, and that's
It's
the key, is to
compassion.
have
Yeah.
compassion, because
Exactly.
something is going on. Like, most
Yeah.
people are not just like really.
And then you
Exactly.
get those kids that kick your seat in the back. I've
Well,
had
that
that.
is annoying. God,
Yes.
And that is
Yes.
super annoying. And then the parent is right there and not correcting it.
I
That
know.
I will say that needs to be corrected.
That's home training.
That is a behavior. Yes.
Spoiled.
And what do
be
we do? Because sometimes I'm just like, oh, do I say something? Do I not say something? Or
Well, I guess the proper thing to do would be to tell the flight attendant and let the
Okay.
flight attendant handle it.
You don't let the
Or
flight
if you're
attendant
like,
handle it?
or if
Okay.
you're like me, I'll say, excuse me, but your son or daughter, who's, identify and
That's what
find
I
out who the
do.
parents are and say, unfortunately, he keeps kicking and I'm trying to sleep or I'm trying to rest here. Would you mind?
Yeah.
And having them correct it.
First, I just confront the
So,
kid first. I confront the kid first. Because
Assuming it's
no,
not a
because it's
2-year-old.
no. So no, I have.
to that
You're
to a
like,
child.
No, they're kicking, and then I turn around playfully and I'm like, no, that's bad. No. Now, if he just continue to do it, thinking that I'm joking with him, then I say, hey, mom, dad, yo, get your kid.
Well, I am interested to hear what the listeners like how they've
I'm sure they've
that,
had a lot to talk about
because
in the comments.
it's just not easy. And like, car
No, I'm gonna
travel
get a lot of
isn't.
hate mail on that one
Oh,
because they're like,
maybe,
you
but
don't know.
like,
You need to just shut up.
your friends, this was their first international travel
Mhm.
with Reed, with their
Yes,
child,
yes,
and he's
yes.
7.
He's 7 years old, and matter of fact, he gave some good advice, which
Yeah.
Yeah.
was pretty good.
What are some things you would want to let other kids know they should want to do when they're traveling?
Probably draw, go to bed for a little bit, watch movies, play if they have a video game, or when the food comes out, you can eat or drink. Some things I like to do. Yeah, that's all I can think of.
And
but he's although he's 7, he's very mature. You know what I mean? I feel
Yeah.
like his perspective was as an adult kid,
and this is where I
oh my gosh,
said
he was so adorable.
his parents obviously trained him, or I don't know if that's the right word.
They're rearing him. They're
They're
raising him.
Training
raising
a dog, right? No, so rearing a
They're-
child, yeah.
Rearing him.
they're
Raising
cor-
him.
correctly. I mean,
Yes.
he's also a prior military officer too as well. So I suspect some of that military mannerism and training is also part of it too as
It
well.
can be useful, especially when it comes to planning and just having
Directness.
like backup plans, planning enough time to get places. So all of that has to be factored in with a kid because it's just going to take longer than you would normally expect. And if it doesn't, amazing. But
Give me 2 to 3 things that you think a family or a spouse traveling with kids, from goober to maybe teen. I think teen is probably the easiest to travel with because they ain't gonna listen to you. They got their headset on and their iPhone together. But what are some of the tips that you would want to have open so that people can tell you? And then I'm sure some people in the audience would probably add to those tips too as well. I don't care who starts.
having like snacks, lots of things to do, allowing them to sleep,
Benadryl?
because
No.
no, stop. But some people do that, they do. But like because it's like a tripod, right? You've got the hunger factor, the fatigue factor, and like the temperature. And if one of
Right.
those things is taken out, one of those legs, then like now the kid's like teetering on just 2. But you take out 2, now they're hungry and tired and they're gonna crash.
Mhm.
So you have to have those because they just aren't frontal lobe enough to be like, I'm hungry enough in advance, or I'm
Well,
tired,
are
or I
you
gotta
saying this
pee,
in general? Are you saying this in general, or are you saying this for little toddlers?
I'm saying this for probably up to elementary, middle, but to the point before they like 7th, 8th, 9th and on, like you're doing a lot of the planning for them, as the parent to ensure that they're taken care of. And then once they start to reach the age where they want to have independent
That's
action,
13-ish.
yeah, I mean, ish, yeah, where now they have like opinions on where they want to go. And then it's like the switch of now I need to start including them in the planning process because I wasn't. And Violet, my daughter, especially had opinions about like just not wanting to go. And I'm like, God damn it, I just paid like all this money and now she doesn't want to fucking go.
But you didn't ask her that
I
she
did
if she
not.
wanted to
I
go.
did not. And this would have been 8th grade. And I was
Right.
like,
And is it
God,
fair? Do you need to ask your kids these questions? Because I know there was no equality in my household when I was a
yeah.
kid.
There is a difference between what people think kids' role is. Like, are they just the beings that you raise that do everything that you say, or are you allowing them to have some participation
Some opinion
in the
or something.
family?
Yeah.
Teach
Well,
me on this. Is that
here's the other thing that I did when traveling, and even with my kids being smaller and toddler age, through all the way really through high school, is I try to pick, first of all, knowing the habits of my children. I also tried to choose, or at best as I could, um, a schedule that I thought that would be advantageous to all of us, meaning their schedule and how they react, as far as where we could stop when I knew, we'd be hungry, or, if we needed to, maybe arrange a flight that was around a time that I knew that, energy would be high and everyone would be happy. You know what I'm saying? Like I tried to choose, those times because it made it easier on me because I'm the one that, for the most part, was responsible for the children.
Mhm.
So planning those things around the time when it would be best, or receive the best, was important
But
as
I
far
think
as,
it was the
okay, I'd like
same.
to do this.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was the same even when I was growing up too as well. That same thing you just said, Tricia. It's just
Right.
that it was prior planned. Like my parents or my mom would be like, okay, get your clothes ready, get this ready. We're gonna go
Yeah.
here or we're gonna do this. Okay. But if I was to say, but I don't want to go, that's
Well,
not
I
up for
mean,
yeah.
discussion. That's not a
yes.
discussion topic.
Well,
Yeah.
so but
Well,
that's why like I now try to include them
yes.
in the decision prior to me doing any arrangements. So it's
Right.
like,
That's the
here are some
difference. There was
places
no
we could
discussion.
go. Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Like,
There's no
and I'm
Okay.
discussion.
willing to go to any one of these places, but what I don't want is to go somewhere and
Yes.
have them be assholes. So it's like if they're more comfortable going,
Hmm.
to
Yeah. We didn't
point
have a chance to
A,
be an asshole.
but it's because
'Cause-
you keep talking about the draconian, like,
but you keep saying draconian, but I
yes,
guarantee
I
you
feel like
there's
it
certain
is.
places to an extent,
Okay.
yes,
So yeah,
to an
but I
extent.
mean, but okay. So look, I came from a single parent, for single, mother. I had a single mom. I came from a single parent home. So
Me too.
the situation is, I didn't have a lot of travel opportunities necessarily to travel with my mom, but when I did go where she went. But
Mhm.
it was also, I was also in the aspect of, um, well, my mother was going, so I had to go. It's just the way it is. It's different now, right? We're trying to, especially when your kids get to a certain age, you want to incorporate them, right? Because again, Benef, it's self-preservation. You don't want that, you don't
But
want
Yeah.
them to
what
be
makes you
upset with you.
think
You
that
don't want them to,
but
you want peace of mind, when you're
that's what
going
I'm
on this
bothered
trip.
by.
Because
What makes you think that it wasn't incorporated back in the old days with us? Like my parents said, no, we're going to Florida. And the reason
because
why
of
we're
what you're
going is
saying.
because of, well, it's because what I'm saying is, for example, they'll say, we're going to Florida because we got relatives in Florida. If I was to say, but I don't want to go because I want to do XYZ. No, you're going because Aunt such and such is going to be getting married and you need to go.
Well,
That's the
that's a
reason
different
why.
situation. No, but that's a
I
different
do feel like that's a
situation.
But
different
as a,
situation.
no,
Yeah,
because
Yeah,
versus
that's a
leisure
different.
I don't
travel.
care
Leisure
about going to a
travel
wedding.
versus, yeah, leisure travel versus family obligations. That just happens. I'm
No, no,
sorry,
no,
you're
no, no,
going.
no.
Yeah.
Okay, it could be. Let's say because we're going to Disney World. Maybe I don't want to go to Disney
Okay.
World, and I
Okay.
just want to stay home and hang out with
Okay.
my Sega Nintendo game and play with my friends. Because when
Mhm.
you're at a certain age, that is the number one thing. I don't want to go do
Don't
any of
know
these
too many
other
kids
things.
that don't want to go to Disney World, but yeah,
As a
that.
teen,
I,
I was not, well, me personally, I was not a big fan of Disney World once I hit my teens. I mean,
Like
I
right.
wish
a
I do
heartbeat.
honestly wish that I did have those opportunities, but I don't want people to think because the draconians, like you said, is bad. I don't think it's bad. It's just that there's other opportunities and other ways of doing things.
yeah,
Look,
but
It's
you have
just
if
to
it was
understand.
definitely
bad, a lot of us
it,
would be doing crazy shit. And
well, it's just the role that I mean the how much it's not like the children have they have the last say on anything. I mean, until they're adults and off
Exactly.
on
Yeah.
their own. I mean, we're still
some people
the
do make
decision
their kids
makers,
have the kid
but
have the
we
same.
include them because they're part of the family, and I feel that it's important that they also enjoy the trip.
I mean, I can voice my opinion whether or not it's gonna be overruled. It will
Yeah,
be.
you do bring up a good point because I
You
hadn't
do.
considered the amount of children in the family. So I'm interested to hear some different
Yeah.
opinions from our listeners versus
I agree.
one child, two, three, four, up to you had nine, right, Paul? Like
Yes. And I
traveling
was
with
the
nine
baby.
kids,
Yeah. Yeah.
buying plane tickets for 10, 11 people is like
That's a
not
lot.
I
ideal.
remember
You
we
might want to
did that.
charter your own damn
Yeah.
plane for that
We did
too.
that one
Yeah.
Coach
time
bus.
we did that one time flying from New York to Miami. And we looked like, you remember the movie Home Alone? We looked like that family doing Home
Yeah.
Alone. And I never forget because my mom told my brother it was a funny story, to call a cab service, so that we can get a cab early in the morning. What shows up in front of our house? A freaking
Or
limousine.
passenger.
A
Oh, snap.
limousine.
Oh
One
my
of those
gosh.
limousine taxis.
Yeah, to carry
Maybe
everyone.
I thought maybe the wrong car showed up. Like it wouldn't
No,
Yeah.
but that's not what my mom asked for. My mom asked for the super shuttle bus. I don't know if you remember that
Yes.
those vans. It's like
Yes.
8-passenger van taxi.
Did you guys
bus.
ride the limo or you sent it away?
Because
Of
that was the
course.
only thing. Because we had to get to the airport. It was expensive, but we had to get to
Oh,
the
I could.
airport.
I bet.
And
Oh,
all of us were in there like, "Yo, we're rich."
I think now I think parenting, at least in my household, we try to incorporate that on, that when the kids got to a certain age, and I think that was just for us, because as our kids got older and knowing that they would go away, to college and that sort of thing, we wanted them to
Yeah.
to be able to advocate for themselves, to be independent, to do those things. So we try to incorporate them into certain decisions.
The benefits of young children being able to actually see beyond their neighborhood
Yes,
or their
it's huge.
town is amazing. It's huge
Yeah,
because
yeah.
my children don't feel 100% American.
Mhm.
Like they've seen so much of the world that they're
Mhm.
open
It's an
to.
education level.
Yeah, like
more than
they're
Absolutely.
education.
excited about different cultures, different ideas.
Mhm.
They're it's normal to them than
Yeah.
just
Exactly.
seeing what their own town or their own county. So I think like that is something
I
that
think
a reason why people. I mean, there are parents that just like homeschool their kids and go off on like a freaking Winnebago all over the world
Mhm.
for that reason.
and I think that's the
Mhm.
biggest gift that you can give your children is the gift of travel because
Yeah.
it as you said, Benef, earlier, it's a big world out here, and the moment that they are able to leave the confines of where they, their home or where the people that they know or that are like them, and they go out and see something different, now their world has changed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think that's the best gift that you can give your children. It's not materialistic things. It's memories, it's travel, it's the gift of being able to interact and know different people. So
Trisha, I agree with you. I think that that is one of the things that we really wanted to give our children, and I think they have benefited from it. They really do have an
absolutely.
appreciation for other cultures and just exploring, wanting to see different things. It continues. 100% agree.
I can and from the single man's point of view, I appreciate you guys opening it up on this because I obviously see things from a different perspective and different lens. And it's from the lens of a single man. And now I know when I'm in the airport and I see someone that's screaming or whatever like this, I know why. And I gotta, you know, not be all aggravated and stuff like that and just not think that they don't have any home training because that's the first thing that comes to my mind is clearly they didn't get any home training and they just spoil the shit out of these kids. So thank you guys for that.
Yes.
Now, thank you guys for giving your point of views
Yeah. Well, and of course, we want to thank our listeners for listening or watching this podcast. Please continue to tune in, subscribe, like, share with your friends and family, and we will see you next time.